Good morning, everybody. It's Valerie Ling here coming to you from the beautiful Tasmania. It's very, very early because I've got about an hour to do a little bit of reflection and preparation and nourishing, as in having breakfast and probably taking a walk outside before I head for a pretty long day today. I'm actually working with a small, medium business today with their intact team to walk them through some burnout principles and helping them to figure out in their own spaces what they can be doing to stay afloat. And as I was thinking about as I woke up this morning and started to prepare for my day, in my news feed, I came across about 4 or 5 posts from business owners who were basically crying out that they were burning out. And I totally get where this comes from. The last quarter, I always know it's going to be what I call the hustle quarter. Hi, Naomi. Good morning. How are you? What are you up to? You're up early as well. It's the hustle quarter. I've always known that. As a mental health professional, it's pretty much also a very intense period because you also start to see how the stress is building up in our community and for various reasons. But I wanted to share with you very, very personally for me what I have to do in my own world. And it's going to surprise you, but it's not really about self-care. It's not really about doing less. Because in this last quarter, I actually have to do more because I have a team that I'm supporting as well. And so I actually need to really make sure that I'm resourced myself so that I can be that stable place for them as they see our community. So what is it that I find really, really important during this last quarter so that I don't feel like I'm drowning, like I'm failing, like I'm hustling and my legs are going to fall off? Here's what it is, and I'll give you 2 metaphors. Let me start with the first one. Your business is always going to be to you like that third child, or for me it's a third child, that child. And that can be helpful and that can be unhelpful. How I stay afloat during the hustle period is to actually really work on my mindset. I call it having a Teflon brain and a curious brain. The Teflon brain means that I try to hold very lightly to the investment that the business is me. So it's a lot like having a child. If you have children, my next metaphor will not involve a child. You cannot control how your children are going to turn out, but you love them. The more you fear and the more you try to control them, the more they will act out and the more they will actually rebel and push away from you. But you start to see your children as they grow up as not being extensions of you, but really as being human beings whom you've had the privilege of investing some time in, and you watch as they sail off step by step, little by little into the world of independence. And you start to really enjoy watching other people interact with them and other people experiencing them. And yes, they will make you feel anxious and nervous and really, really frustrated. But as a mom, the worst thing that I can do in those times is to get into their space and see all the bad things that are going on. I try not to walk into my children's bedrooms, for example, when I'm feeling really, really annoyed or frustrated with them in something else. I find that just makes things worse because then I'm just looking for confirmation, right? That I'm a terrible mom or they're really uncooperative, willful children. And that sense of positive regard just gets really diminished. And it's the same with our business. It's not really a great time to go and look under the hood for everything that's going wrong when you're not feeling like your business is something that you're feeling positive about. What I find is really, really helpful is actually coming back to the idea that all businesses, just like children, go through various seasons. And depending where you are at the stage of development, it's really important to understand what stage of development you're in. You could be in the very early years, you could be in the adolescent years, you could be in the adult years of your business. And your role in the business grows and shifts and changes and moves accordingly. Very similar to being a parent, however, if we don't take the time to actually have other spaces where we feel like we're doing okay and we're having fun and we're just being playful about things, our world will be consumed by the ups and downs of parenting and also with business. So that's my first metaphor. Now, if you don't have children, here's another metaphor for you. I really enjoy, I know this is going to sound weird, but I really enjoy my car. My car is like a horse to me. I've never owned a horse, but I think if I was a soldier or if I was, I don't know, somebody who needed to be on a horse, I think my car comes to being the most faithful horse-like figure in my world. And thus, choosing a car for me is like that. It's very often the only quiet space I have. It's very often the only confidential space I have. I do lots of meetings in there. I do lots of thinking in there. It gets me to particular places. And choice of car for me means also that I look really into the mechanics and the features, and I make sure that it's actually something that I can work with. So I am one of those car owners, though I do not really know how to fix something. I like reading the whole manual and handbook of my car. That is the only manual and handbook that I will read, nothing else. But my car, I've read it pretty much cover to cover because whatever little features and automatic things I can figure out to make life simpler and safer, I'd like to do that. Owning a business for me is very much like owning a car. I see it really as having the curiosity to know what's under the hood, to figure out actually how it's ticking over, looking at the mechanics of it, sitting at the wheel and feeling it. Is there a drag? Is there any kind of clunking going around? And I don't get too bogged down really in the details of how did it get there? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? What do I need now to fix it? Oh my gosh, the car's going to fall apart now the minute I drive it out of the garage. No. A couple of things that I, know I have to do with my car. It's got to go for its servicing. It's got to have really, the kind of fuel that it needs. The body needs to be taken care of. I need some insurance. I need a bunch of people who are better at doing these things to come around and wrap around it and do it for the rest of the time. It actually heads in a particular direction. It serves its purpose, and I make sure it runs well. So for me, having a business during the busy times is probably where we also need to sit in this curious, respectful space in our business without getting too catastrophic about it. I totally understand monitoring cash flow. I totally understand looking at Excel spreadsheets, waking up and looking at KPIs and all of that. But really for me, all of that is scheduled, just like my routine maintenance of the car. It features in the diary, so I don't go into a reactive mode, checking on the numbers and starting to have catastrophic thinking about it. It's just scheduled. Can I encourage you that during the busy period, this is actually what you want to do. You do not want to be finding all the numbers that suddenly are glaring at you and you're going, oh no, oh no, oh no. Schedule it. This may not be the best time to look over all of that. Make a plan, problem solve it, find people who are better than you at looking at some of these things. Stay the course, be curious, be playful, and own your job for what it is. Your job isn't to be the savior. Your job is to drive that car, to sit in the seat and feel like, yeah, I'm in this space. We can do what we're going to do. Let's figure out how to get from point A to point B. And really making those points in the busy period shorter. You got to keep the long game in mind. That is true. That is very, very true. You also want to chunk things down into some smaller, manageable steps for yourself. Just point A to point B, point B to point C, point C to point D. Just dealing with what's right in front of you at that point in time. Be respectful, be curious, be playful, have a tinkering mindset during the busy periods. What I will say though, you then need to schedule. You then need to really schedule the planful, reflective time later on, maybe in January, to then reflect back on the year and say, okay, what was it that was interfering with the drive of the car? What was it that was interfering with the efficiency? Where were the cash flow bumps and hurdles? And then review, make your plan, schedule all of the maintenance type stuff in your year, and anticipate the hustle period again so that you don't have to hustle. You just make a plan for it. Okay, if you're really feeling like you're totally bogged down, you're not even in the headspace, your own mental health is interfering and you're going down with the ship, it's time for you to get help. It is time. There is no shame, right? I often see myself as being the captain of my ship, and I will be the last one to go down in the ship, but I'm not prepared to go down before I myself get help. If the issue is me and I need to get some help, then I think I'll need to do it. That's just part and parcel of it. There's no shame. Who can tell you that you need to be ashamed? Who actually understands what it is to be in a small business? Only people who are in a small business will get it, right? And if anybody who's been in startup phase and in a small business says to you, I never got help, well, let me tell you that some other aspect of their world or life has suffered, or there's something else is compensating for that. So get the help that you need. Reach out, right? Reach out. Don't sit there, because you can get to a point and to a space where you're feeling like you're okay, even though things around you may not feel like it's going okay. It's time for me to go now.